Hello everybody, SoCalsabre here. How you doing today? Well, today I'm going to be doing a demo for you, and it's going to be on Thunder Alley. I have played it through one time, watched a couple videos on it. I think I know enough now to give you a pretty good idea how the game plays. I do like it. I'm a NASCAR fan, I've always been a stock car racing fan, so if you racing fans, stand by, check it out. Here we go. Okay, I'm just giving you, this is like an overhead shot. I'm going to bring it in when I give you a little bit more demo of a thing. This is a team racing game and individual racing game at the same time. For example, in the playthrough that I did, the blue team's number 9 came in first place, but the yellow team won. Now, how this is played is, see if I can get some. It's up here for you. Each player in the game gets a team. And they can get up to 6 cars, and it all depends on the number of players in the game and how many cars you got. I played a 3-player game, so each team got 5 cars. And then you're going to work and track each one of the cars on here. This, your car number, the name of the driver if you want to know that, temporary wear markers and permanent wear markers, which I'll show you in a little bit. But each team gets it. I played the race, it took a little while. The track, it only says 2 laps, but it actually simulates some other things in there, and so it took quite a while. Down here on the board, over to the left, is a sequence of plays on the board. Then over here on the right, you can see there's a chart here that tells you about linked, tells you about forward movement and lateral movement, and then there's speed penalties. Speed penalties are dependent on how many of the wear and tears you have on your car. Okay, let me pause here for a second. I'm going to bring it down a little bit closer so that you can see. I can give you a better demo. Okay, when starting the race, you'll take all your cars, and then what you'll do on that big pile of cards that I showed you, you'll flip one over here. This is to find out who won the pole position and what position's it at, and then you'll go to the bottom of the card, starting on the left. And if black was in there, they would get the first one. Red, none of those were in my race. Green was. So green would go first, and then blue and yellow, and you go, and then you would reverse it. There's an optional rule that I like better as far as the second time through, because when you do it this way, you end up getting cars next to each other from the same team, which happens sometimes, but yeah. On the track down here, this is called, in the game, these 4 here are called a segment. This part up here at the top is the wall. This outside the yellow line is the apron. And the apron will be used for pit stops and so forth. To determine who's leading, for example, in this race right here, 54 and 15 are in the same segment, but 54 is closest to the inside, so they will be leading as far as getting points and so forth like that. At the end of the race, I should have showed you more of this ones. Wow, I got it way up there now. At the end of the race, you add up all the points that your team's scored. And how do you score it? Okay, up here on the top of the board, I could have showed you these. There are markers. As the teams finish, they get the marker that they're finished. Like this is first place. In this particular car would score 46 points for the owner, whoever had it. And so forth. Second place goes, there's a chip for each one of those. cars that lead turn laps, after everybody has activated all their cars at one time, that's the end of the turn. Then the car that's in the lead at that point in time gets a turn leader marker placed on his player board by that car. That's going to give that driver one more point at the end of the race. Now he can accumulate more of these, but he's only going to get 1 point. But accumulating more does come into play at the end of the race, because the driver that has the most turn penalties gets a bonus one point. Oh, I had it up there. Okay, it gets a bonus point. It can come into handy because in my race, you know, I was mistaken. I told you yellow won the race. It didn't. Blue did win that race. But here's what it was. The blue team ended up with 186 points, green with 181, and yellow with 183. So from the lowest to the winner was only a 5-point difference. So that's pretty good. I like that. Okay? And when I play a 3-carder, I always play to win on every team. Okay? Other markers that you might see, if a car gets lapped, you put them on there. And at a certain point, lap cars are removed from the game. This is a card-driven game, and I'm going to show you a demonstration of a few of the things here. Here's what a card. I got a big. There we go. Okay, this would be the top. That 7 on the card is his speed, his movement points. The 3 is his movement points or speed coming out of the pits after he made a pit stop. As you can see, there's a double yellow line, one in front and one in the rear of the card. This is draft movement. Okay, a lot of draft movements won't have no writing on them, but this one happens to, and this one happens to say the active car may only move towards the outside wall or straight. Okay, no inside movement is allowed. Now on draft movement, just like all others, these cars, we're going to say that it's 8's turn, and he's going to draft. He's going to be moving these cars forward with him. I'm not going to move him 7 because I want to keep him in, but they're all going to move in with him till he gets to the end of his turn. Okay. He could also do something like this, because he couldn't do that. I'm sorry, but that's what draft movement is. And at the end of draft, each card that's colored on the top is going to get a wear marker. Now this is a tire wear marker, so this wear marker would go onto his card in a temporary. Temporary wear markers may be removed during a pit stop. Permanent wear markers cannot. Down here, you can see 2, 3, 4 different. These big ones are permanent wear markers. You get a permanent wear marker that goes on your card, your card, in the permanent side. That tire one would have went on here, the permanent side. Okay, and it stays. It does not come off during pit stops. This one does. Okay, so you got to be careful of that, because if you get 6 wear markers total on the card, then your card's going to be removed. It'll score points, but it goes, if it's the first car removed, it's going to get the lowest one. And in that 5-car race I was doing, it would have got 15th place, whatever the points were there. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff you got to be watching. So the strategy when you pit and when you don't pit. Okay, and here's one that's called lead movement. Okay, and as you can see with the green arrow behind him, he again is going to be dragging the people behind him. But let's say that he wants to do a 6, and we'll say this is 15. Okay, and 15 wants to get in closer to there. He can go 1, 2. These guys are still following behind him. They follow exactly where he goes in lead movement. And then he can go 3, 4. And these guys are going to follow. So, because he wants to get in closer to the edge. So that's it's a pretty cool thing. Okay, I'm not going to show that there. That one. Okay, then we got the dirty air. Okay, this is solo movement. He's not going to be dragging anybody with him or pushing anybody with him. It's going to get a fuel temporary marker when it's all over, but we're going to say that number 6 back here, or number 8, gets this dirty air. The player, how you get the cards at the beginning of each action round, or the beginning of the round, each player gets a number of cards equal to the number of cards he has plus 1. So that in my game, each player got 6 cards each time. We're going to say that 8 got this, and he wants to do a solo movement. He can go 1 out here, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? But he could do a lateral movement. I'll show you. And that lateral movement costs him 2 points to do that. He could go into this guy's lane, which forces this guy to the row, the wall. You can say, I want to do it one more time, and he does it one more time, forces this guy behind him, and then he can take off. So that would have been 2, 4, 5, 6. Not that I would have liked to have done that, but that's the example. And that's called lateral movement. Okay, riding the draft. Here's another draft one, and you'll notice that the title of this card has white behind it. These are ones you like to get. Why? There's some restrictions sometimes, like this active card may make no lateral movement. But what that white means is at the end of your movement, you're not going to get any wear markers. White is the only one that you're not going to get wear markers on. Then we got pursuit movement. It says after the active card is completed its move, it may move 1 lane towards the apron. If that lane is not vacant or is, ignore it. Okay, so we got pursuit. It's going to be pushing. And so we're going to say that he's pushing, this is 8 pushing these guys, or 7 pushing these guys. So he's going to be pushing them up here. Let's see how far he goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to go here. So this guy would be up here. And then, because of the writing on the card, he can get 1 movement towards the apron free. And it says it on the cards. Okay. All right, so that's the movements that I showed you. There's a couple other things. All of the movements, you must try to use all of your movement points if you can. If you get down to the end, we're going to say this guy's out here, and you only have 2 movement points left, 2 or less, you can call just like bump, and that's the end. Okay? If you have 3, and you're behind the guy at the end or any time, beginning of the race, middle of the race, if you have 3, you can call you can make a displacement. There's 3 movement points to do this. Boom. I did not use any displacement moves in my game because I did not, feel that I needed one. Then, after each player has completed moving all of his cards, you take turns. Yellow goes, green goes, blue goes, yellow goes, green goes, blue. Okay? At the end of each turn, when they have all done that, okay, you'll take a turn leader marker and say it's like this, 15's like this. Now 15 will also be the first player. On this current lap. There's a first player marker around here somewhere. Okay, and then you would put it either on this card. I found it's better just to put it on top of the card. It's easier to see. Sometimes when you put it on your player board, it gets mixed up in with all of the wear and tear ones and everything. So you would do that. Now blue would be the next next time around will be the first player. That's how that's determined. But after they've all moved, before you even get to there, you're going to draw an event card. These are these. Okay, and we're going to see on this one. There's going to be green flags, yellow flags, or red flags in the top right-hand corner. This is a green flag. And spin out, and then you got to go and do what it says. The car with the most tire tokens moves straight back 10 spaces and then down to the inside lane. If multiple cars can be affected, use the team bar. The team bar is what I showed you before, which is on the bottom of these cards. So a lot of different things can happen. This did happen to one of my cars. Okay, then we got yellow. This pileup happened shortly before the in the second lap before the end of the race. It says draw the next card and check the team bar. The first team color show must give their lead car 2 red damage tokens. That's disastrous. 2 red damage tokens. These are big ones. You can't get rid of them. And then it goes on down to what you do with all of the other cars in the pileup. Then you get some good things sometimes. This one says Overcast, green flag. Each team may return 1 tire token to the stock from their 1 car of their choice. Now this, you might have been going into this one thinking, oh, this guy's got 3 tokens, and I don't want to have 3 tokens. Why don't I want to have 3 tokens? I showed you on the board, there's a speed penalty chart. Team that has 3 tokens, the car is -3 in its speed. So you say, you got 3 right now. It's already been activated. I better do a pit stop. Well, that card comes up, it takes it down to 2. So a pit stop won't really be needed at that point in time. I'll show you how pit stops work. Okay? We're going to say that, we'll take this off of here. He did make the turn. Say he's in trouble and he needs a pit stop. This is a green flag pit stop. Goes all the way down and he goes back. Okay, these cars will keep on running. He goes back 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when he's activated the next time, you can use the lower number to get him out of the pits. But everybody does that. There's an optional rule, which I kind of like too, but I'm not going to talk to you about the optional rules in there. All right, so now we're going to do a yellow flag pit stop. Okay, we're going to say that this is where the rate, and 15 needs a pit stop. He's just going there. And then 54 needs a pit stop. And he needs a pit stop. They don't go back 5. This is a yellow flag because yellow flags require a restart. So 40's the leader, so you're going to move him into the inside lane, whatever the restart lane is. Then this guy's going to move up to here. Then this guy will move into here. Now 15, who came into the pits before these guys, will go here. He goes here. And he goes out here. And boom, we're off and going after the yellow flag pit stop. The only, I don't know if I can get the camera over here to show you this. Okay, here's the green line I'm going to be talking about right here. This is the finish line. If there's a yellow flag that requires a pit stop, and the guy is within 7, I think it's 5 or 7 of the finish line, all the cars that require the restart will come back here and start behind this yellow line. So they'll be bending around back here. So it gives you more. I did have one of those too. I just extended the game a little bit more. Now once the first player passes the second round, in this race it's a 2-rounder. It takes quite a while. There's a lot of turn. You can see there's considered a lot of turn leaders in there, even though you're not going around the full time. as soon as the first guy passes there, he gets the token, and then every player keeps activating their cars, and when the final car is activated, the race is over, even if the car's back here. Okay? Then you'll go and you'll give them their assigned ratings. This chart over here is very, very helpful because it'll tell you linked when you're for solos, linked forward when the linked happens. Linked is when these cars are considered linked if they're nose to tail and they're adjacent to each other, and they're going to be, and this guy wants to use a movement that's like the draft movement, they're linked, okay? And then it's going to go, and they're all going to go. Some of them are not linked. In solo movement, they're not linked, so this guy can just go out here without dragging anybody with him. Okay, and so that pretty much wraps up the demo I wanted to give you. I hope this is gets some of your interest. I really like this game. I have another game that's NASCAR associated that I have played a lot, but I won't mention it in here. This one here is right up there with it. This is a really, to me anyway, a fun game. So if you like this, go down there and hit that like button. Push it out into your social media channels and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. There's another demo out there. I'll put it in the link that I really liked. I watched it a couple times, and it's by Stucka Joe. And he really explains everything very detailed with some nice graphic overlays. So, this is SoCalsabre. Until you hear from me again, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and stay safe.